Okay, let's move on here. I think that's something I move on this evening. I'll have to look a little more at it. We move on to 1 p.m. Eastern. Green Bay Packers 3-5, 1-3 on the road. At Pittsburgh Steelers 5-3, 3-2 at home. Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Last week, the first play that jumped off the page at me was the Eagles. I felt like they just, I have a bias of watching the Cowboys go in there and shit the bed, and I didn't move on it. I just felt like it was too public, and that's the exact same thing I feel here. But there's a difference because the Packers looked good against, a Rams team that was starting Brett Rippon. So I can understand why everybody wants to fade the Steelers, and that's what everybody is doing. And I try my very hardest to not do what everybody's doing. That's all every week I'll try so hard not to be on that biggest public spot on the board, and that's what we see here. Let's take a look at the line history for this spot. The Steelers opened up at Pinnacle -3.5 at +104. It really was sort of a juiced three. That +104, that -3.5 at +104 turned into a -104 yesterday morning. And then there was a big move on the Packers. That Packers +3.5. There was a 22-cent move yesterday afternoon at 2:14 p.m. They were sitting around that -130 spot, and then it started coming down again. Right now, at the 3.5 number at Pinnacle, the lines move towards the Packers. That's the situation right there at Pinnacle. From a total scenario here, we have a 30. We see 39s. This opened up at 37. It moved to 38. It was a regular 38. Now it's a heavily juiced to the over 38, -121 to the over. So maybe it's more of a 38.5 or a 39. Let's get into the cash flow here for this one. You have 92% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on the Steelers. Steelers have been good to me this year. I've lost with them too, but they've been good enough. And I just don't want to be holding hands with everybody saying, where do we like the Steelers? We don't like the Steelers as a favorite, but this is a pretty comfortable situation for them. And then you have 89% of the tickets and 95% cash on the under. The market's moving towards the over as well here. Packers snapped a 4-game losing streak with a 23 home victory over the Rams, who are missing Stafford at quarterback. Jordan Love looked better, 20-26, 228 yards and a touchdown. Musgrave led receivers with 3 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown. Dontavian Wicks was next, 4 catches, 49 yards. He did lose a fumble. Aaron Jones finally had a game for the Packers. He ran 20 times for 73 yards and a touchdown, caught 4 for 26. He did lose a fumble. The Packers were 7-14 on third down. They came in actually 10th in the league converting third downs, 41.6% of their opportunities. They were 1 for 4 in the red zone. They're not that bad there. They rank 18th, scoring touchdowns 51.9% of the time. However, they have struggled there recently. And, in the last 3 games, they're only catching 36.4% of red zone opportunities. The defense didn't put much pressure on Rippon to stop him. They didn't have to. I mean, 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits, held the Rams to 10 first downs, 187 total yards. The Rams didn't run a play in the red zone. Rippon struggled against the injury-riddled Green Bay secondary. They were starting 2 rookie 7th-round picks in Carrington Valentine and safety Anthony Johnson Jr. That's tough to deal with. They're dealing with a ton of injuries. Quay Walker and safety Rude Ford sat out the game. Both are listed as questionable this week. Darnell Savage, very important safety, remains on IR. I mean, he's not expected back till week 12. Kenny Clark injured his shoulder. Defensive tackle, he's listed as questionable. And Christian Watson has a chest injury, back injury. He's listed as questionable as well. Steelers coming off extra rest. What a wild season it's been for the Steelers. 29 teams during the Super Bowl era. There have been 29 teams to give up more yards than they have accounted for in each of their first 8 games. And this is the only team in NFL history that has a winning record over that stretch. It reminds us, the Vikings last year getting lucky. They were last seen a 2016 victory at home over the Titans on Thursday night. 4 of Pittsburgh's 5 wins this season have come when they trailed entering the fourth quarter. All of Pittsburgh's victories have been in 1-score games. Kenny Pickett underwhelmed again. It was enough to get the win. 19 of 30 for 160 yards and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson caught 7 for 90 and a touchdown. Jalen Warren ran 11 times for 88 yards, caught 3 for 69. Najee Harris actually looked better. He ran 16 times for 69 yards. They were much better on third down. Now, an important note, though, is that the Titans were the best, and we'll talk about this in the Titans game, but they were the best defense against the run last year. They're bad this year against the run. So we have to kind of, fix that bias of the Titans being a great run defense. But they were much better, the Steelers, on third down, 6 of 12. They're 21st in the league in that stat, converting third downs 36.7% of the time. They were just 2 of 4 in the red zone. They struggle there. 27 scoring touchdowns on just 46.7% of their drives. And Broderick Jones making his first NFL start at right tackle, first-round pick. He did great there. The defense was all over Levis, sacked him 4 times, hit him 10 times. Titans went 3 of 13 on third down. This Steelers team's 19th in the league, allowing third downs 40% of opponents' opportunities. Held the Titans to 1 of 4 in the red zone. They're good there. 8th in the league, allowing touchdowns on 45.5% of opponent drives in the red zone. And both of those stats, they're much better at home than they are on the road. They struggle in those spots on the road, and they're quite good at home. This run defense has regressed. It's in 2021, the Steelers' run defense was the worst in the league. They're moving in that direction. The return of Cam Hayward was supposed to help that after missing 6 games with groin injury. It hasn't. Cole Holcomb, inside linebacker, carted off the field. He's done for the year with a knee injury. 54 tackles and a fumble recovery in 8 games, which means Mark Robinson, the 7th-round pick in 2022, is barely played. He's going to take a much bigger role. They're still without Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm not going to sit here and be on the side with 95% of the gamblers. Just not going to do it. So I don't want to have anything to do with the Packers. So that means I stay off this spot. Then it means I stay off this spot. Troy, take it away, Packers Steelers.
Yeah, the more I heard your breakdown, the more I started to lean towards the Steelers, unfortunately. But this is just another ugly game. I think it's highly likely the winner of this game lands on 3, and this game lands on 3 so frequently, it just turns me off. But I'll get into some of the metrics. And actually, you can copy and paste what I said earlier about the Bears Panthers 3.5. That applies here. Low total, right? I have that right here. Yep. This line's currently sitting at like a minus 3.25, so it's kind of in between. But where that lands is going to be very important. Maybe I move on Sunday, but I don't have no action right now. But just want to touch on a few things in this game. We know, if anything, the Steelers, they could apply pressure on the quarterback. Now, they haven't been great like we expected, but they've been above average, well above average. Jordan Love under pressure is a damn potato. Kept clean, 65% completion, 10 touchdowns, 5 picks. Under pressure, 43% completion, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. I think it's highly likely that, they should be able to get pressure on Jordan Love and force him into uncomfortable situations. Take the Packers last week performance, whatever they did, I throw it in the trash. I don't even look at it. Brett Rippon's so bad that the game plan and the scheme changes so much. It's just not even worth looking at that game. Brett Rippon, as far as I'm concerned, as far as what I've seen, has the lowest PFF rating in the history of the NFL. So take that for what it is. Yeah, I just think that, and looking at the Steelers team, like you said, they made history. I think their defense is a little bit overhyped. Kenny Pickett, he is uptrending, but not that significantly. It's not like he's in a good territory yet, and he's not putting up good numbers, that's for sure. And their offensive line still has major issues. 31st in pass block. I just don't see a big edge in this game when it comes down to X's and O's, so I haven't moved on it. But that 3.5 number, if it stays at 3.5, the database would say take the Steelers.
It jumped off the page at me. Everybody caps differently, but I don't want the spot that I know is jumping off the page at everybody. And we'll see how it bangs out. Interesting look. The Packers finally got a little bit out of their first half doldrums last week. They actually scored a touchdown in the first half. But Dennis Garcia says first half under, just keep betting the Green Bay profile first half unders, and then second half over as well. But what do you think that this is just a very? I mean, it's tough when we're dealing with these totals. There's one low total at this number that I've gone underneath, but we see it moving towards the over. Do you have any interest in trying to get underneath this?
No, I actually think I'm off the under because these totals that kick up, we see it moving up, and when they're low and they start moving up, I think the books are kind of showing us their hand in that case. And these totals that are low and they start going over or start moving to the over significantly, they go over. So I really have no interest. I really don't know what to expect in that game. Like, it's just, I would expect exactly what everyone else is expecting. No offense, a close game, Steelers win. It's just, and when I'm, like you said, you don't want to be on that. It's just so clear that it's unclear to me.
95% of the cash right now on the Steelers. And I just don't want to Don't want to be in that group. Al Cervix says another shit show, Troy. Another shit show. Let's move on.